2024, the Beats Pill has arrived in a new form. Well, what is that new form? It's a new speaker. It's not the same as the old one. That would be silly. We've got a woofer and a tweeter, aka mono, and it also happens to be the same setup, woofer tweeter, as the JBL Flip 6 and the JBL Charge 5. So headlines. The headlines is the price. It's always about the price, not getting price. The price is £149, $149. It's about the same price as the JBL Charge 5. So a lot more expensive than the Soundcore 300. It's a lot more expensive than the JBL Flip 6. Size, it's a tiny bit bigger. It's a bit smaller than the Charge 5. And yeah, the profile is different, but not. The width is about the same as 300, but of course the profile is completely different. Just to quickly show you the speaker, as you can see, it's the old cylindrical shape. And these days, what they like to put in these cylindrical shaped speakers is what they call a racetrack woofer. Yeah, very, very fast. One woofer, one tweeter. That means mono, like the Flip 6 and the Charge 5, but not like the 300 because that's got two woofers, and that means stereo. Just know, it's kind of basic. You've just got the USB-C on the back. The good news is that's a two-way. It's not a three-way, but it's a two-way, which is also good. It's more intimate. It's a two-way USB-C, which means charge in and use it as a power bank out, and also you can use this to play your tracks over USB-C on another device, because it will support USB-C audio. Top is pretty sparse. Volume down, volume up. Let's turn it on anyway. And you've got to wait a few seconds for that to come on. It's not a quick one. It's not a quickie. You've got to hold that power button down. Also, it's kind of multifunction because your power button is also, if you want to put it into Bluetooth receiving mode, your light for your volume. So if it goes below 10% battery, that will go red. And you've got a multi-function button in the middle. And of course, as always, in the pursuit of making it look nice, in low light, you won't really see that. Yes, they are recessed, which is quite nice, but you won't immediately see that because the markings are very, very faint. But you're going to know where things are because it's very, very sparse. It looks quite nice. It looks quite premium, but it's audio. Audio is about what it sounds like. It sits at a slight angle with the drivers at a slight angle, so it fires slightly upwards. Your lanyard, as though you didn't already know, is removable. Soft grip silicone. It feels pretty premium. I'll give them that. And it's got a nice protective silicone cover. So obviously we need to know what can we expect from frequency response. Notice how the volume steps adjust as you go louder. So you've got more control at lower volumes. And when you're hitting your 70, 80, 100%, it won't go much louder per volume step. We've got a classic smiley face or V shape. That's big. That's a big old dip in the mids. If we have a look at where we think the center line should be, then you're looking at bass that's probably starting to roll off around 70 hertz, which isn't too bad. But we've got a big lift at the high end. It certainly looks like it will have a character of its own, but it does look like it will maintain bass somewhat at maximum volume. Do note, this speaker does not have a passive radiator. We're used to speakers mostly coming out now with passive radiators. One notable exception was the Sonos Roam. Look, it's not a game changer. It's reinforcing a very narrow area, going a tiny bit deeper and giving you a bit more punch to fill in a little bit of that lost bass. It's not the game-changing thing that you hear a lot of people. And there's, it's like ports. Should you have a port, not have a port, it changes the nature of the type of bass you're hearing. It's got an app. It's really, really basic. There's no customization in terms of the sound available on the Beats Pill. I will indeed now show you a quick look at the app. So in the app, not a huge amount of features. There is no EQ. There are no presets. You can add one other speaker. You can share your speaker, of course. Rename, adjust the volume. You can customize the call controls. Tells you your firmware. And explore. Just telling you about the speaker. So really not a lot going on here. So let's have a listen. All these speakers 40%.
Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Feel like I do. Feel like I do. You think about it, feel the same. Tell me, do you? Oh, feel like I do. Oh, wish that things were different. Time didn't go slipping. Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Feel like I do. Feel like I do. You think about it, feel the same. Tell me, do you? Oh, feel like I do. Oh, wish that things were different. Time didn't go slipping. Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Feel like I do. Feel like I do. You think about it, feel the same. Tell me, do you? Oh, feel like I do. Oh, wish that things were different. Time didn't go slipping. Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Feel like I do. Feel like I do. You think about it, feel the same. Tell me, do you? Oh, feel like I do. Oh, wish that things were different. Time didn't go slipping. Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Feel like I do. Feel like I do. You think about it, feel the same. Tell me, do you? Oh, feel like I do. Oh, wish that things were different. Time didn't go slipping. Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do? Feel like I do. Feel like I do. You think about it, feel the same. Tell me, do you? Oh, feel like I do. Oh, wish that things were different. Time didn't go slipping. Oh, tell me, do you feel the same like I do?
Just to show you quickly how V-shaped the Beats pill is, if you overlay the original track, the massive dip in the mids, it does maintain bass pretty well at these moderate volumes, and it does have a big old kick in the high end, 3 kilohertz and up. Flip 6, which is also a bit V-shaped, but actually has stronger mids than the Beats pill. That's how V-shaped the Beats pill is. In terms of the bass, Flip 6 JBL style, relying on really a peak around 100 hertz, with the Beats pill going significantly deeper given the size of the speaker. Against the Motion 300, well, the Motion 300 is a pretty balanced speaker at these volumes. It's got reasonable mids and a balanced high end. It does have a bit of a dip around 7 kilohertz, and it does have a push in the mid bass compared to the Beats pill. Against the Charge 5, quite a difference in size. The Charge 5 has a similar balance to the Motion 300. A surprising dip in the upper bass. It's going to help make it sound a little bit deeper in the bass. And it's relying again on a little push there, around 75 hertz. Just know in the real world, no matter what it sounds like to the ear, in terms of handling bass-heavy tracks, it's always about bass-heavy tracks. When they're trying to drive the bass as well as the mids and highs, they'll all roll off around 80 hertz. You won't get the bass that you get in a bass-heavy track from about 80 hertz down. The Beats pill, well, here we are. We're talking about the sound, and that's kind of the point of the video. It's very, very V-shaped. Yeah, very heavy V-shaped. It sounds all right if you recognize it's the V-shaped. So right off the bat, we have to say, if you don't like a V shape, and what does that mean? I don't know what it means as a V shape. How's that different from an S shape and all that? Well, it just means you've got no mids. I mean, it's really lacking in mids. I mean, that's quite V-shaped, but this takes it to another level. The mids are not there. I would say for me, this kind of works. You get a meaty sound. It's actually doing the, you know, like we said, it's not a game changer having a passive radiator. It changes the nature of the bass. There is deep bass there. In fact, it's going deep, was it, 60 hertz and down. Whether you can hear it or not, hopefully you've got good headphones or something, or however you're listening to it. And if you listen out for it, you know what we're talking about. When a lot of people don't know the difference between deep upper bass and mid bass and all that. But if you know what you're listening for, it's doing it. Actually, it's out doing it. At least for me, I never pick up the Flip 6. It just, especially, you know, in today's era, just to me it sounds nasty, thin, anemic. You know, it can do a job if it's the only speaker you got and you don't have others to compare it to. But you know, I've got many speakers that will do a better job than that. Probably the most balanced here is the Motion 300. And a quick listen, you'll say, well, that's got better highs. It's not about better highs. Obviously, if you just want those boosted highs, you like it. This is more balanced. But again, issues. Surprising roll-off in the deeper bass, where actually this does better. But it's stereo. You'll get a sense of imaging that you won't get on this one. But people will say, oh, well, I still get the separation. Well, that's different from sound staging and imaging, by the way. And because Charge 5, similar balance to the 300. Obviously, it's bigger. It should have the advantages in the bass, and it didn't. Some people would prefer this over all the others. But I'm saying all three of these are good options. Its biggest takeaway, there's lots of other features. This is about the Beats Pill. I won't go into all the other features. That lacks features. This has got loads of features, not just the codecs. We'll probably get onto the end. But I could happily listen to all three of these. For me, you know, more realistic. Well, that may be a realistic listening volume to you. I mean, you can certainly listen, but I can't get enough dynamics at those sort of volumes. 65% around there is where I would do my listening.
I scream, nobody hears, but I see the light from far away. It's down the line. Maybe I should not give up without a fight, 'cause there will be a time.
against the Flip 6. Beats Pill obviously has the weaker mids. It's very weak in the mids. It's very V-shaped. Has the bigger boost to the high end, but it does beat out the Flip 6 for bass, and it leaves the Flip 6 sounding quite anemic. The Beats Pill actually outbasses the Motion 300 here, but the overall balance again is going to be V-shaped with quite a boosted high end. Charge 5, similar balance to the Motion 300, but does manage to retain a bit more bass. But the Beats Pill does have a big upper bass kick, while the Charge 5 goes deeper. So that bass is actually going to sound quite different on each speaker. Although into the deeper bass, there is more on the Beats Pill. You ain't going to hear that. That's well rolled off.
We're starting to push the volumes. Remember, non-linear volume steps. So you won't get much more volume after 65% for each extra press of the volume on the Beats Pill. Again, obviously, I wouldn't listen to the Flip 6. Still had those issues. It's even worse now with the bass roll-off. We've got issues now, I have to say. I'm doing this in default mode for all of them. And I'm doing this with bass up because I wouldn't listen to it with bass up off because it's too bass light. But I know a lot of you do listen that way. And for me, you'd have to, why do you have to do that out? Well, because get distortion. This does have distortion issues as you push the speaker into those louder volumes with, I'm saying X bass, but what they call bass up or extra bass. I can't remember. There's so many different things they call their bass buttons. But JBL haven't got into the bass button era yet. I wonder if that's going to be their next thing. Got EQ in the app, but no bass button. In terms of the bass boost button, distortion. I don't know if you heard, I certainly hear in that particular track, starting to do that overdrive thing, which some people won't hear it and it will sound fine. To me, it's a bit nasty. I don't like it. The Beats Pill still holding on to the bass. We saw that in the frequency response, and in the real world, it's holding on to its bass. Of course, it's a lot easier because it's not driving any mids. But still, we are getting some bass. I was surprised because I was hearing a lot of people say it's bass light. It's not, but I wonder if they're listening out for punchy bass. So punchy bass really is around that upper bass, and it's not doing the upper bass, over boosted upper bass, because it is giving us some deeper bass. So for ears like mine, who likes a warm sound signature, it's doing a fine job. I can only imagine the people that are saying lacks bass is because they only hear upper bass. The winner, though, for me, as I said, I could pick any of them at low volumes. But, I do like a satisfying warmer bass. It's not all good news. As I said, it's a sculpted bass, but you do get that sense of the deeper bass. You do get the sense of the warmer sound, and it's balanced all over. Some people would say, well, I want to crank the highs up, and I don't like it. It sounds dull and muddy. And that's the problem when you say, what's the best speaker? Because we're all different. Different listening scenarios, different tastes, different ears, different rooms. It's a minefield. All right, maximum volume. So they told us it goes amazingly loud, blah, blah, blah. By the way, they don't publish the power output on that. Not that it tells you exactly what you need to know, but it's just an indication. And why they're not telling us, I can't find battery capacity either on that. So Apple Beats, very shy again on some of their stats. Doesn't matter, because you come here, we do the loudness test, and I'm going to do that now.
Surprisingly close in the bass between all these speakers. But what does differentiate them is how they handle mids and highs. So the Charge 5 goes louder, and it's doing that because it's stronger in the mids. In fact, it's really similar to the Motion 300, except that it has more bass, a lot more bass, really, all the way from 300 hertz down than the Motion 300. They are the two loudest speakers. and they are the better balanced speakers because the original track is a downward slope, and we can see the Flip 6 and the Beats Pill have an upward slope. That's how badly balanced they are, especially at maximum volume. And so although the bass is quite similar in all of them, the overall balance is very different. Ultimately, the Charge 5 goes the loudest, has the most bass, and at maximum volume, that's probably all you want.
My measurements are plus or minus 1 dB. On this particular test, 101 decibel peak for the Motion 300 in its X-Bass mode. And of course, if you turn bass off, it'll probably go, well, I think it does go. It does, yeah, definitely go louder because it doesn't have to drive the bass. But in the mode, I think most people will listen to it. 101 decibels is louder than the Charge 5 that goes obviously proper louder, but 100.5 decibels. So the instantaneous loudness on this, depending on where that track hits the certain peaks on these speakers and how they handle dynamics and transients, blah, 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 it's going to be different. I took 20 minutes or something. I didn't even need to tell you, and nobody else measures anyway. Why do I bother? I don't know. Good question. But yeah, so just know the difference between how we determine loudness. But no matter how you measure it, a speaker that they are definitely telling us goes blinking loud and it's a room filling. It doesn't go that loud at all. It goes loud enough for normal listening. But if you was going outside and you're expecting party levels, I mean, it doesn't even do the levels of all three of them, isn't it? What was the Flip 6? Overall, minus 15.5 LUFS is a lot louder than the minus 18. Obviously, 0 is the loudest. Minus 18 is it. So it doesn't go loud. Actually, if you know what you're getting from a V-shaped sound or tuning, this does a job because it's surprisingly holding on to deep bass. Surprisingly, the actual bass on all these speakers is the same. But why do they sound so different now? Well, because it's how loud the mids and the highs go relative to the bass, which completely changes how the speaker sounds overall. So who's the winner at maximum volume? Well, I still say the Charge 5, it's got the bass, but if you actually wanted a warmer sounding speaker, it could be the Pill, or the others indeed, or the 300, depending on what you're listening for and what tracks you're playing indeed. What do you think? Is it a buy? Well, if you like a V-shaped, it's a possible. If that's the sort of size speaker you want and no messing about with EQs and stuff. Doesn't sound bad if you don't have ears for mids. So bit price, is it $149 speaker? Nah, it's not. Would I think about it at about $90? 90 quid? Yeah. Then for the V-shaped crowd, I think we might actually offer some value. You're up against speakers like the Motion Plus. Don't know what the current Motion Plus sounds like, but it's kind of. But obviously that's a lot bigger. But you know, those are speakers with lots of features. But for a throwaway, I don't know, it's not really a throwaway, just for a pick up and forget speaker, yeah, not bad if it was $90, but ain't. It's $150. I don't know what the battery capacity is on this. I can't see any teardowns yet. I can't see anywhere where they advertise the battery capacity, and we know the big companies tend to do that. It's ridiculous, isn't it? They don't want battery capacity, which is criminal. It's 27 watt hours for the Charge 5, 17 watt hours for the Flip 6, 24 watt hours on the Motion 300. Of course, they all do SBC. Just know that it's made by Apple, so no surprise it will default to AAC. But the Motion 300 will do AAC, SBC, and LDAC. Very, very nice codec LNAC. But of course, it's adaptive. So we're assuming you're getting strong connectivity. Just like it'll drop right down to basically SBC quality if you're not getting a good connection. Bluetooth 5.1 Charge 5, 5.1 Flip 6, 5.3 for the Beats Pill, 5.3 for the Charge, for the Beats Pill and the Motion 300. Obviously, they're the newest speakers. All do stereo pairing. They will all do party mode, except for the Motion 300. None of them have an auxiliary input, but hey, it's got two-way USB-C, which as far as I know is the only one here. They all have power bank functionality, i.e. power out, except for the Motion 300. Again, lots of good news. It's cheaper, has good codec, but it doesn't have power bank functionality, if that's something you want. Now, we're talking in the days of power delivery. We're talking the days of, you can get 60 watts out of some of these speakers in terms of charging. So it's old, so you can understand. That's 10 watts you'll get out of that. That's 5 volts, 2 amps. 10 watts you'll get out of that. But all singing, all dancing from Apple, it's 7.5 watts. I mean, not a huge difference, but it's. I mean, that's so minimal. That's almost criminal. But it will charge at 5 volts, 3 amps. But it will only charge power bank out, you know, as its output 7.5 watts, which is, again, criminal really for the price and for the company that's making this. The power on them, 40 watts charge 5, they say, 30 watts flip 6, 30 watts for the Motion 300. No idea. I'm guessing 20 watts, but I've got no idea. They don't want to tell you. The lightest on the table is the Flip 6, 550 grams, followed by the 680 grams of the Beats Pill, followed by 775 grams of the Motion 300. Of course, it's the biggest one. It's 980 grams, but they're all pretty light. They're still very travel friendly, one hand friendly. The only one here that, so they are all IP7. They all do 1 meter water for 30 minutes, and they are all dust proof except for the Motion 300. Again, it's cheap. Why is it cheap? Well, some of the functionality is not there that you've got on the others. That is not dust proof. And by the way, if it don't float and it drops into 2 meters of water, what's the point? So the only one here that will float is JBL Charge 5. But sadly, not with the drivers up, so you won't be able to listen to it like that. Don't know the size of the drivers, they don't tell you. In terms of latency, and the only usable one here for me is the Flip 6. 133 millisecond. For me, 80 milliseconds is cut-off point. This is a test of lip sync. For me, on YouTube, 133 milliseconds is pretty bad. Charge 5, 83 milliseconds is usable for Flip 6. The multi-codecs and the Motion 300 are all bad. 216 milliseconds for LDAC, 200 seconds for AAC, 116 milliseconds SBC, and just tested it on AAC. 100 milliseconds is usable, but you're going to notice lip sync. Again, 3-band equalizer, 3-band equalizer, 9-band equalizer, plus a parametric equalizer. Nothing, no presets, no equalization, nothing, 0, 0. So for a lot of people, I guess, a no-brainer speaker like that, where there's no messing about with the app and changing things, or is this bit better? Because a lot of us will spend days, weeks, and years messing about with the EQ. That's a little bit better, a little bit. That's what I said. It's a pick up and forget kind of speaker. It will do a job on holiday, especially traveling. V-shape outdoors probably works okay. Has a nice bass, so it makes up for, you know, not having the mids to an extent. And that's the end of the video. I mean, the takeaway is never a straight answer. The takeaway is it's overpriced, but not Katie price. So it's not overpriced. So it is overpriced, but it's not a complete loser. You just got to know what it does. So this for me is a 100 quid kind of speaker, and it would be a kind of thumbs up. Just know it's V-shaped, but it's not. So it's a hard one to sum up. That's what she said. Okay. Some is, I mean, I don't dislike it. It's not awful. It can do a job, but for the money, I don't know. It's hard to say. I've seen value. But then I can play that louder without distortion than that, because if I turn X bass off, that's got way more bass. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope I get something out of this video. That's the end of the video. I thank you for watching. I hope to see you again in another video, because otherwise I'm just talking to myself. And I thank you for watching this time.
Thank you very much.
What the f was that?
It comes from China.
My speaker's got deep bass, balanced mids, and a bright high.
Yes, mine sounds exactly the same.